Welcome back to Smashing Heads Podcast. This is going to be a recap for Spies, Lies, and Allies, Episode 3. My name is Zach, and I'm joined by my wife, Hannah.
Hey, hey, hey.
And my best friend, Jake.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Who actually turned 37 2 days ago.
Great job, everybody. Come on, give yourselves a round of applause here. Hey, I got to tell you, at this point in my life, 31 was just another day. It's
not a big deal.
You weren't 37.
Yeah.
Last year was a big deal. It was 30.
You were freaking out about it.
I was freaking out.
Yeah.
But I've settled in. I am as happy as I've ever been. I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life. Everything is great. It's good. We were just talking about before we got on here, you guys got me a cookie cake.
Yes.
I had it custom made for you.
Because you're the only person I've ever met who's like, those cookie cakes are so good, which they're typically not.
Well, I typically just get the ones from Kroger.
Which are not.
Okay, here's the thing.
Which are not very good.
I left work late yesterday, drove to 2 separate Krogers, and hunted down cookie cakes, and they're out.
I'm not surprised.
They don't have them anymore.
I just don't think they're making them.
They did not even have, like, a spot for them. It's like they don't make them anymore. And so I had to call people that I knew, like, hey, where can I find cookie cakes? Because apparently they're not a thing anymore. And one person told me to go to Walmart, and I was like, I'm not really comfortable going to Walmart by myself because our Walmart, at least like in our area, is a little sketchy.
A little rough. You would agree,
yeah.
Zach?
And I don't go to Walmart very much at all.
And so my reasoning was I will call the bakery at Walmart and check and see if they even have any. Because if they
don't care. You shouldn't have called them.
Well, here's the thing. I was like, if they don't have any, I'm not wasting a trip. And I called. And I sat on the phone, and it redialed 3 times, and nobody picked up. So I called Sam's next door, and the lady that answered the phone in the bakery section it was like she was so mad at me for calling. And so then I was like, what do I do? Where do I find a stupid cookie cake? And then I totally forgot, next door to one of our Krogers, we recently got a Nestle Toll House
high-end
cafe, and that's where I went.
Yeah.
And they had it custom made and everything. Like, I got to pick out all the icing and the
icing sucked.
Well,
it always is.
I got to pick out the icing and the decorations, which the decorations that came on it were I asked for about 30% of the icing that was on there, because when I came in, the manager was there to pick it up, and she had pulled out 6 different tubes of icing, and she's like, can I do this? And I was like, I don't care what you do. And she covered almost the entire thing in icing. It was ridiculous.
Well, let's talk about the icing for a second. I hate that we did this before you hit record, because it flowed well. Hannah and I had a moment here. So Zach, you hated the icing. I
don't like cake. I don't like that cheap, like, birthday cake icing. Like, not even just cookie cakes, but just like Walmart cakes and like I like buttercream icing.
Okay.
Walmart nowadays does buttercream icing instead of the cheap.
Well, whatever. I hate that, and that's all that was on it. And so once you scraped that off, like, the cookie part was much better than like the Kroger stuff because it's like a Nestle cookie.
Well, I had a couple of slices of it. Mm-hmm. It's a running gag around here how I cut my pies or cakes or.
I mean, I don't think anybody listening knows about this.
It's a gag. And so I had a couple of slivers of this cookie cake. It was great. And listen, we're all adults here. This is for the kids. Hey, we do one of 2 things. You got number 1 and number 2. You either urinate or you poop. It's one or the other.
Or
hold on.
We're both at the same time.
You do both. But, well, yeah, you can do both at the same time.
Yeah.
That's a number 3.
That's a number, yeah. There are 3 types of women. And so...
And one gets to pee only.
one only poops, and one is just sick to her stomach all the time.
I pooped earlier tonight, and it was green. Now, I'm not sick. I am well, and it was green because that icing was so strong and so blue. Think about it. When you mix blue and brown... What color do you get, Zach? Green. Forest green.
To which I said, I'm not really sure about that, but I guess.
So, to which Han said...
That's not how you make green, by the way.
I said...
You said it was like a forest.
A forest green.
It's blue and yellow.
To which I said, I pooped, it was like a tree I pooped out. To which you said, I mean, barking, and I said, yeah, woof.
And I laughed so hard because it was so stupid.
I don't think retelling it really has the same...
But
It
listen,
doesn't. It does not.
Yeah.
It really doesn't.
Here's the thing. If anybody has ever listened to this podcast ever, or seen us interact, or heard us talk to each other, and wondered, why are Hannah and Jake best friends? Mm-hmm. That's why.
Because my poop is blue. Green. Green.
You don't know what color it is.
Oh, God.
You poop a forest, I ask if there was any bark in it, and you say woof.
Woof.
Oh.
So, either
Love
way,
it.
man, what a joy. What a joy it is to be here. The other cool portion of this week that happened before tonight,
Yeah.
we got a new patron and a patron who upgraded.
Well, we always give shout-outs to any new patrons.
Yeah, and so it's been a thing where I like to provide the option for you to make your own ringtone, because that has happened.
Yes, someone like a year and a half ago said, I'm going to do that.
Oh, it
and
wasn't
then,
that long
That
ago.
wasn't that long ago.
Oh, I bet
Maybe
you
a
it
half
is.
ago.
I bet you it was a year and a half ago, easily. It was pre-pandemic.
Okay, well,
No
We've been in a
way.
pandemic for 18 months, guys.
No way. It's
Yeah,
not.
it
It was not pre-pandemic.
100%.
No.
Yeah.
No.
well, I'm going to give you guys the option to make a ringtone here. So, Gary, we'll start with you. Clean break. Hey, Gary. How you doing tonight? Cassie.
You already gave her
upgraded.
one.
Well, we're going to give her another one.
Okay.
She upgraded.
Okay.
That deserves a new ringtone.
Yeah, she was at our free agents level, and then she came up to the Bloodlines level. And actually, she had an idea on our Patreon that we were going to do from here on out, but I'll let you do this first.
All right, here we go. Clean break. Hey, Cassie. How you doing tonight?
So yeah, her
That's a good one.
her suggestion after last week was, hey, while you guys are doing the fantasy points, can you post like the individual scoring for each person? She's like, because we're using the same scoring system that you guys do, but it's really hard to rewind back every time somebody gets points. And so I was like, oh yeah, I was like, I'm already typing them all down anyway. I can just copy and paste it over in Patreon after it's done. And so we're going to do that from now on Patreon, and it's just something that we never really thought about. We didn't know anyone was going to be using our specific scoring.
Right.
Because sometimes it's all over the place.
I'd say it's mostly all over the place, but that's kind of the charm of it.
That's the charm
Yeah.
of it. And I
Yeah.
got to say, I'm extremely flattered that people, because this is my brainchild. Right?
It's your baby
This was my
that you birthed
my
out of your
idea,
butt.
and the scoring system is mine. You guys trusted me with this, which I have to give you as much credit for as me coming up with it. You guys trusted me with this. You two right here in the room with me. This couldn't have happened this way if you didn't trust me. And now, for all we know, we've got hundreds out here who are using this scoring
I
system.
think you're being a little
Hey,
a little optimistic about that.
there's no way to know for sure.
There is some belief out there, per I wish I could remember his name on Twitter, that MTV may be listening because now they're using a fantasy system.
Yeah, which I think that they've done somewhat in the past, but
Not like this.
Well, yeah, our system obviously is very different. But we also, like, somebody tweeted that at us, and then we were watching the episode, and I never saw it. But also, we fast forward through the commercials, so maybe it was like a commercial break thing.
I don't think it was something that was on the television.
No, it was.
Episode.
I mean, from what
Is that what he said?
from what I gathered from our patrons in the Slack group and all that, it was. But I think it was maybe a commercial break.
I was thinking it was something that they were doing on social media just to get more interaction.
I told you I read through that, and it wasn't on there. At least for last night it wasn't, and that's when he tweeted to us, was during the episode. So it's actually Thursday. We're recording this on Thursday. We did watch the episode last night, but
we had to get some sleep.
Yeah, I had a long day of meetings and stuff this morning, and Jake, I know, had a lot going on too, and so we're like, let's just push it till tonight, which is Thursday.
Let's just push it.
Push it.
Push it to the limit, because we're what's the next? I can't think of.
I thought she was doing "Push It Real Good" by Salt and Pepper, or
that's where my brain.
Or
went.
"Push It" by Static X, and it wasn't either of those.
Well, I think the two of you can attest to this. My mind has not been the same since I got sick.
And your mind is a unique little case study.
But it's so much worse now. I can't think of words that I use daily.
Zach, you live with her. Can you attest?
I can confirmed. It's like
it's your stamp of approval. It's confirmed.
It wasn't Mythbusters, or was it like Mansers or something, where they had a big stamp on the screen?
Confirmed. You just stamp.
We should do a Mansers podcast.
All right. Yeah. What do you think? You want to do it?
Yeah. Hannah, you can't be on it.
Okay.
I don't even know. I don't even know how you would watch. Like, I don't even know if that's even a show that's available.
I had never heard of it.
Oh, you hadn't?
No.
It was on like Spike, and it was like really over the top, like zany guy voiceover, and it was like, guys, how much do your balls weigh? And like, let's figure it out. It was like, who's got what boob sizes are best? And
it sounds like a variation of 1,000 Ways to Die.
It was very similar.
Which I watched.
It was very similar to that style of show, but way over the top. And it was only answers that men wanted to know, I guess. And so
if it was on Spike,
yeah,
there you go.
1,000 Ways to Die was much better.
Okay.
I used to watch that, and then it scared me, so I had to quit.
I think the worst one I ever saw on there was someone was doing like a sword swallowing trick, and they swallowed an umbrella, and it unlatched in their throat, and they pulled it up. Yeah. That was a bad one.
I don't like that.
Well, guys,
there's nothing you can do about that. That's it.
No,
you're
done. You're just
done
at that point.
So
we're gonna get the challenge. The one thing that I was gonna say, do you know what number 1 was on there?
What?
Like, you know, they're always like Way to Die number 685.
But it was always random.
Yeah,
like it was.
They
no
did have a
particular
number
order.
1.
Okay, what was
and
number
it was. I want to say
it's got to be the worst one.
It wasn't. It was a Japanese couple that both were. I think it was Japanese that were so like shy that when they had sex for the first time, they both died. Like their like bodies overwhelmed, and they had like heart problems, and they both died. And they're like, "That's number 1. That's the number 1 way to die." And I was like, it's better than swallowing an umbrella.
Yeah.
So shout out to Spike TV for those great shows.
That must have been one incredible orgasm right there.
I wasn't there.
Mutual too. That is iconic.
It's the number 1 way to die.
Unbelievable. Wow.
Maybe that's why they say opposite to attract.
You know what? I think most people.
What does that even mean? They both died the same way.
Yeah, they were both too shy, so one of them needed to not be so shy.
Oh, okay. I didn't get what you're saying.
I think most people would agree that would be a preferred way to go out. An orgasm so great that you just die. You just give out.
What? Somebody has to find you, though. Is that how you want to be found? Your body to be found?
It's not a bad way.
Well, let's let you guys ponder on that. We're going to get into episode 3 of the challenge.
Did you tell them about our Patreon?
I was just about, I was going to say, Jake alluded to it a minute ago. Our Patreon is patreon.com/mashinetspodcast. And on the notes on Patreon is where we'll do the scoring for the fantasy stuff from here on out. And we do have an interesting twist for the fantasy stuff because Lauren, who was kicked off the show, was the one person we didn't draft, but we said at the beginning if someone had a medical disqualification, she would take their spot. And so then she's gone, and Amber B came in, and we're like, okay, well, Amber B's in that slot. Well, it turns out Tommy got medically disqualified, so that means Amber B goes on to my team.
Good pickup.
But I don't get any points for her until Tommy leaves.
Right.
So we didn't even start. Jake didn't start keeping score of Amber until Tommy had to go home.
But if we're talking specifically about last night's episode,
she didn't do anything.
She had scored no points before he had left. So
we'll get into it.
Not a big deal.
So this episode starts and Tori carries Ed into the house, and then Emmy tries to carry Devin into the house.
I thought it was cute.
Devin's the number one prize in everyone's heart.
I thought it was interesting to hear, Amber B was asking Emmy why she picked Devin, because I think we all wanted to know when she did scream out his name, was it to keep the running joke, or was there something that these rookies are seeing in him? And at first she was joking, and she's like, oh, because I looked over at him and he was doing this, and she had a weird smile on her face and was pointing at herself. And I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. I could see him doing that. But then in her little confessional right after, she said, this game is not all about muscles. You've got to be smart. And Devin is one of the smartest in the house.
To be fair, I'm not 100% sure how much of a grasp on this game she has at this point.
Yeah, I could see that.
Also, I don't know if I'd believe that Devin was... again, I don't mind Emmy. I know a lot of people don't like her, but... Michelle, if you're Devin, I think you want to be partnered with Michelle over Emmy in the long run. So I don't feel like he's trying to get out from underneath Michelle's partnership.
But I could see him doing it just to keep the number one draft pick thing going.
I mean, if there's anything Devin loves, is this a good bit.
Yeah, and I love it.
He's going to be in on any sort of jokes. Big T thinks that all the vets are leaving her out, and I was like, oh, they are.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's just what's happening.
I had to really make all the Big T stands mad. I can hear, they're still screaming, Zach. You hear them? Do you hear them out there? They are.
Well, we only have one neighbor, and she's 76. It'd be really weird if she was one.
She's also been gone for 3 weeks.
She's here.
She just got back yesterday.
She's here, though.
Yeah, she's here. Alive and well.
To her.
She's been traveling all over the place. She's living her best life.
I was trying to get everybody stirred.
Yeah.
And y'all took it over to the neighbor.
Hey, she's the one that calls us and asks if we've seen the moon. And she has a moon guy that calls and tells her what's going to happen. She's so great.
Did you guys enjoy Nelly T's boot camp?
Yes, it made me want to work out, but
you know what it reminded me of is it Billy Blanks? Billy Bank, the guy who used to do Tybo, because that graphic popped up, and one of my cousins, his mom used to buy all those Tybo VHS tapes, and she did not do them. But me and him did it a couple times, and
what do you think?
As a 11-year-old, it was hard. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
me and you actually tried Insanity out.
That sucked. It really sucked a lot.
It was bad. We did the
test.
Boy, it was rough.
Yeah, that, and that was really bad. I don't think neither one of us did anything after that.
I actually did.
Did you?
Yeah, I went through it one time.
But later, not that.
Later.
Not during that.
Yeah. Nelly T's boot camp. I think he'd make a great coach. I think he'd be a great hot man.
Like a good personal coach or a class teacher. You should hire him to be one of your kickbox instructors.
Maybe not, because he'd probably try to sleep with all the women in there.
Yeah.
Fair?
Yeah. I mean, that one.
Yeah, but are you responsible for that? If they're willing?
Yes. As someone who would employ him, yes.
Yeah.
If he knows he's going to go after all of his clientele.
Well, what if...
I don't know why you're trying to make a case for this.
No. What if he started his own kickboxing class as a rival gym to you? What would you do then?
Yeah, well... Have you seen me, Han? Come on.
I look at you every day. We work next door to each other.
Have you seen me?
I have.
Hey, I have a question. I have a question, and it's challenge related. It's episode related. So Ed has been really super stoked to be partnered up with Tori, and then he wanted to have that little meeting where they were talking with each other and sharing a bowl of purple cabbage, which was super weird
with nothing on it.
It was just straight up shredded cabbage. Does Ed have a crush on Tori? I feel like he's romantically interested in her and like some of the jokes he was making and just the way he was behaving. But also, he came from what, Big Brother? Is that right?
No, he came from the circle.
He came from The Circle. I didn't watch The Circle, so I don't know how he normally is.
Did you watch that?
No, I didn't.
I know a lot of people did.
Mikey really liked it and kept wanting me to watch it, but I just never got around to it. But I really like Ed.
People said he's a lot more fun on this show than he was any on The Circle.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, if he's like this, I'll go watch The Circle when I have, whatever. But it just, I kind of, watching their interaction, I kind of felt like Ed kind of has a crush on Tori, and Tori's not really sure how to respond.
I mean, she just was trying to hook up with Kels.
Yeah, and Ed's the one that sent him home.
Do we know if Ed's single?
As of now, he is not, but as of filming, I have no idea.
Let's just assume he's single. I'm a single guy.
You want to date him?
You are.
No, but I just want to speak from the perspective of a single guy, which, by the way, I know I made a comment a second ago. Have you seen me? Guys, it's a bit. I'm not arrogant, all right? I need to clear the air on that. I don't need anybody walking away, like, throwing up in their mouths over that comment. It's fine. So... Anyway, speaking from the perspective of a single guy here, I don't know that you necessarily have to have a crush in order to flirt.
Yeah, some people just do it because it's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun, especially if it's mutual.
Yes, and especially if you both have like that same energy, and you're like, Tori especially, fresh off of a pretty significant breakup. Yeah. I mean, she
had a rebound with Fessy.
Yeah, and
that blew up.
Told Corey from 12 Dates of Christmas, like, oh yeah, I banged Fessy, and it wasn't great, but I did it. And he's like, oh, okay, this is the first day I ever met you.
Yeah.
And,
now, I'm also careful with the flirt.
Okay.
You don't want to I don't want to lead anybody on. So I pick and choose my spots.
Okay.
But flirting's fun, Han.
I know.
Yeah.
I used to be the biggest flirt around.
You don't anymore?
Not really. I don't really talk to a lot of people now.
I think that, like, I don't think he has feelings for her, but again, if he is single, like,
Godspeed.
He's keeping the door open, I guess. I don't know. If it's mutual, I mean, again, there's a lot of people in our Slack group that are like, man, Tori is being very dumb this season already. And
yeah, I have thoughts.
Just not even like she like got feelings for Kels, who's a rookie. She didn't vote for him when everyone else was voting that way. She also like made some like handshake deals with other rookies and then completely disregarded it.
Sought them out.
She also was threatening to like blow up the Vet Alliance over Big T. And I was like, the thing is, I was like, a lot of these rookies, there's no reason to blow up the Vet Alliance right now because, especially over Big T, because Big T's not a threat to you in the long run. But some of these rookies potentially could be.
I think Michelle.
Yeah, like Michelle, Berna maybe, Amy maybe. Like I think those are all stronger competitors than Big T as far as to win a final, things like that. And so there's no reason to like rock the boat over someone you shouldn't be worried about. But we'll get into to Tori more later. Corey 12. We didn't have much Corey
12
Wharton
dates
in this episode. Very little from him, it seemed. But
Corey the dad.
What?
You're saying Corey, and I'm having a hard time.
No, I say Corey 12 and Corey.
Corey 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
All my notes just say 12 dates.
Well, that's disrespectful to him.
No, that's the show he came from.
Well, you don't call anyone else Big Brother Survivor.
You don't call Ed
Turkey.
Circle.
Yeah. Well,
I didn't even know where he came from.
I'd put him as Corey 12 just because it's, and I have it spelled correctly. It's Corey, but like saying it out loud, you don't know that. So Corey 12, which his last name is like Lay. It starts with an L. He's afraid that everyone's going to keep saying his name and that rookies are going to continue to go in, which is not wrong.
Well, he opened up to Gabbo, and he was like, we're one of the only double rookie teams, which
Gabbo's not. Gabbo is.
He's partnered up with Nany, and I thought his confessional was funny because he was like, that's why I'm so grateful to be partnered with Nany because she's a veteran, so we'll never see elimination.
He actually said she's a wet.
Yes.
Because V's and W's.
His accent
from Poland or whatever.
I thought it was funny that he literally said, "We will never see elimination."
Yeah.
It continues to bear out. We're 3 episodes in now. That these rookies are very entertaining. I mean, I would say the confessionals and camera time have been mostly dominated by the rookies. Now, maybe that's intentional because you got to get to know them.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But
probably.
I mean, like, you saw nothing out of Fessy this episode. You saw nothing out of Nani. Nothing out of Casey. She made a moon joke.
Nothing really out of Josh.
Nothing out of Josh.
That was a little disappointing.
Nothing out of... I can't even remember everybody.
Not much out of Kyle.
Nani,
Kyle. You had some Kyle stuff.
Yeah, some, but not a lot.
Corey.
Amanda.
Amber B.
Yeah.
Hardly anything out of Amanda.
But I mean, so sure, maybe that's intentional, but like, you could also make the argument the rookies are giving them material, right? Like you can't.
They're less boring rookies than what we've seen in the past few seasons.
I think it's a really good crop. Rookies.
I think you have some outliers who are not good. Tracy was one.
Yeah, but
she's gone.
Like, for some of these people who I don't think are very good, there's still an entertainment factor. Like
Huey's fun to watch.
Oh my goodness, fun. He's so funny.
Which was it confirmed that he does have butt implants?
Well, Ashley said your big fake butt, and so
because that man's got a cake.
He probably does have like a butt lift or like implants.
Okay, here's the question: does Huey have the best butt on the cast this season?
I don't even know how we qualify that.
Biggest.
Boy, man.
I don't even know how to answer this question.
You know what? We'll just give it to TJ.
Yeah.
Mr. TJ.
So, Michelle and Emmanuel, we get a little bit more of their romance hanging out on the little pool area.
Well, last week was episode 2, and he already said that he was in love with her.
Yeah. I mean, that's a weird pairing to me, if I'm going to be honest.
It's very strange, because they don't look like they would go together.
I mean, I don't know much about her. If you don't know the band Little Big, go look up the Russian band Little Big. He looks like their lead singer.
And it's great. I think that's part of why I like him so much.
Yeah, no, I like Little Big, first of all.
That's like one of our favorite bands.
But he also reminds me of a guy that Jake and I know personally in the face. And I don't know if that's what's throwing me off about him, but I just didn't expect them. But, she likes that he's mysterious or whatever.
Mm-hmm. He's different. He definitely sticks out in the crowd, which is fine.
Yes.
I showed Jake the picture of the person that I think he looks like, and there's something there. I mean, this guy doesn't have all the tattoos, but I think I like Emmanuel more than the guy that we know.
Yeah.
So does Emmanuel get fantasy points?
You don't get to ask that. You don't get. Okay. That's a spoiler.
Well, I'm just asking to be answered later in the fantasy segment. I'm asking, will he be getting fantasy points?
It's the same thing.
For a blossoming relationship with Michelle, because in his little confessional he said we talk game, we talk life, sometimes we snuggle, and then he goes sometimes we kiss, and I just thought that was so funny. I like him. There's just something about him that I like.
A lot of the rookies.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's, if I'm looking at this list right now, I like Ed. I like Berna. Berna's quiet, but I like Berna.
She's very pretty.
I like Emmanuel. I like Emmy. I think Huey's funny.
I picked a good crop of rookies on my team.
I like Esther.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked Kels. I liked Tommy, even though he got sent home. I mean, had to leave early. Michaela, honestly, we got bad first impression from her. I know a lot of people loved her from Survivor. She played very not smart in this. But I like Michelle. Bettina is her own entity.
You read over
She's
Gabbo.
Got that
was
laugh.
that intentional?
No, I didn't. I forgot Gabbo. So I like Gabbo. Logan, I like him.
Ooh, I love Logan.
Renan was not great. I like Tatcha. And by the way, according to some people in our Slack group, Tatcha has the biggest following. I think I said that last week.
Out of anybody on the cast.
and her fan base is very upset at Tori, and apparently Tori deleted her Twitter today.
Oh God!
Whoa!
Yeah.
Hey man, y'all gotta chill out with that stuff.
So I like Tatcha. Tracy, no.
Dude, hold on.
And
Can we?
Hey, Tracy wore a Muppet in her picture, and that was enough for me.
I like Priscilla, but we haven't got a lot from her. And then I like Corey from 12. Corey was the guy I was like, this guy, come on, 12 Dates of Christmas. But I like him.
He's done really well.
Hey man, y'all gotta stop. Y'all gotta stop like coming after these people over a television show.
I don't know.
It's a game.
I don't know what was said.
Well, clearly enough to make her delete her Twitter.
Allegedly. Because I haven't checked
You
on
wanna
that.
go look her up?
I'm
No.
pulling it up right now.
No.
I mean, like it's a game show, and what she did was voted her in. Cut that out, man. Like I don't care if you're a CT stan. I don't care if you're a Big T stan. I don't care. Cut that out, man.
What happens if you ever get somebody on the show called Stan?
Stan.
You're Stan. Stan squared.
I'd stan him.
Well, we get to the daily, and it's called Sea Cave Recon, which last season, my big gripe with the dailies was it seemed like they scouted locations and then tried to like shoehorn a daily to fit around it. And I did feel like that was kind of what happened with this one, but I didn't mind this daily. I kind of liked it because it's got an element of like fear involved at the beginning. Yeah, and then you've got to be able to swim down to like get the things and then swim into a cave, which the cave was cool looking. And then it had some not just fear, but it had some danger to it because we saw a couple bloody people out of it. And then the part that I didn't really like was just holding on to the jet ski to like take you to a place you have to swim to. But I think that was more a logistics thing because they're like, we can't have these people swim that far to this beach area. But I mean, I think it's a good daily.
It was a difficult daily. It seemed.
Everything, all the dailies and eliminations so far have been very creative.
Yeah.
Very different.
but good.
Yeah.
So the first group that went up, Huey was part of it, which terrified right away.
Freaking out. Ashley talked to him as though he were the terrified child and she were the kind of trying to be calming but also dismissive mother.
Well,
like,
she
fine,
was like, she's like,
just get
Jesus,
over it."
what did I do to deserve this? And like he does what happens on like, so like if you ever watch like a TV show or like a movie or something and they want someone to throw up, but obviously when you throw up in real life, like the contents of your stomach is a lot bigger than what you can hold in your mouth, right? So like on TV shows and stuff, they typically just fill someone's mouth full of something. They go bleh, and it's just a mouthful. Well, he threw up like that amount, like he was just sitting there, and he's so scared that he threw up like on himself, and he did it twice, and then he kissed Ashley on the lips.
She kissed him.
That's on her.
Yeah, I agree.
That's on her.
That's on her.
She kissed him on the mouth after he threw up.
You can't do that.
Yeah. He was crouching in the corner vomiting while Logan is putting his goggles on and telling Anissa that they're like two fishes.
Yeah, Logan I think is the only one that really wore the goggles. A lot of people just didn't even put them on. Because also when you do jump from like a height like that, it's very possible they just fly off.
Your eyes.
Yeah, your eyes.
Yeah,
just
your
go
eyes
right
fly
out.
off. That's probably why he wore the goggles. Because he's like, hey,
I need my eyes.
if I put these on, it'll at least keep my eyeballs in the goggles and they won't get lost in the sea.
I'll give Huey this, like for a guy who was so scared he was throwing up, he did jump
and jumped immediately.
Yeah, and then he swam really well.
Yeah.
He said during his confessional when they were going, he said it was like a lion came out of him and that he
so he's been listening to Polly.
He did, yeah, that lion's mentality.
Yeah. How did I not catch that reference?
He said it's like when you, quote, become a superhero, and then he ended up being the one throughout the entire daily telling Ashley to hurry up the whole time. Like, he was ahead of everybody.
Yeah, no, he did. I mean, obviously they didn't win or even like finish in the top two. But I mean, have you guys seen what he looks like with long hair or longer hair?
What?
Yeah,
I knew he had longer hair, but I don't think I've seen it.
His profile picture on stuff is him with longer hair, And then, because this is like a buzzed thing he's got going on right now. I'm trying to find it. He kind of looks like someone cosplaying as Bear.
Bear as in Bear from the challenge that
Yeah.
nobody likes anymore?
I like Bear on the challenge. I think he's a scumbag in real life. He's very watchable, though. Yeah, I'm trying to...
Hey, while you're looking for that... did you find... Whoa, he does look like Bear.
Yeah, I mean, he...
That's weird. Not so much there, but that is a good look for him. The longer hair.
He
I wondered because we've only seen him with the buzz.
I don't think the buzz is doing him any favors, if I'm being honest.
I think it ages him. It makes him look a lot older than
he looks younger with his hair like this, but maybe it honestly it looks a little fake, and so maybe that's why he just finally like screw it, just like shave it off.
Jake, did you catch Anissa pulled a Casey in this daily?
Yeah,
you pointed out.
She had a confessional. I don't remember. She had a confessional where she literally just explained the daily.
And to Anissa's credit, that was right after they came back from commercial break. I think that's why they did it.
It doesn't matter.
Look for
it doesn't
anybody.
matter. Nobody's allowed to do that.
Michelle blooded her nose
and didn't know it.
Yeah. I wonder if her goggles hit her when she jumped in or something, because it like split right underneath.
Was she wearing goggles?
No, but she had most of them had them around their neck, and so I don't know. It's it did it on the jump. It seems.
Yeah, because like Corey 12 Dates said that when he came out of the water, she popped up afterwards, and he just saw this bloody mess.
Smart
all
of
over
him
her
though,
face.
not to point it out.
Yeah, because he was like, I know I cannot tell her about it right now because it will freak her out. I can't tell her until it's over.
Okay, so one thing I didn't bring up last night to you guys because I wanted to talk about it on here. So the first couple of rounds, like everyone swam all the way into the cave. Like both pairs swam in, and later on they did. But there were a couple people in the middle, and I think it was around the Michelle group, that only one of each pair swam all the way in to get that bomb and then came back. And I was like, well, if that's the case, I was like, everyone should do that to conserve energy for the other person.
Yeah.
But most people were all swimming all the way in. I didn't even know if you guys caught that, but about halfway through, like 2 or 3 teams didn't send both people all the way into the cave. And I was like, well, that's smart if you can get away with that.
Was it allowed to? Did you have to get the first one before you could go get the second one?
I believe
yes.
so.
Yeah.
Well, not knowing for sure, like that would have been a play too, right? Is like have one go ahead and dive down, and the other one immediately start
I
swimming.
believe you had to get bomb 1 before you could get bomb 2, but it's not like the person that wasn't getting bomb 1 had to swim down. So
yeah, I guess you think about it, like what's the point of both of you swimming?
You're just wasting energy for this first person that went down and got bomb 1. And so it seemed like most people did it anyway, but I'm not sure that it mattered. But anyway, later on, we get CT's butt hanging out on the jet ski.
And he did not care.
I think a lot of people in this house have seen his butt at some point.
Yeah.
And then he showed it all to him whenever they came back. But
as a joke.
Not even, that wasn't even, that we were like, oh, CT's butt.
It was the same round.
Yeah, we were like, oh, and then there's Tommy's penis.
Fully naked.
And he just did not care. And we're like, wow, he's kind of out of it.
And then he threw up.
Yeah, it turns out, he's got a concussion. And
he was gone.
He was out.
Yeah.
Like he
didn't even know what happened.
His clothes were like ripped off of him, and he was throwing up, and he didn't even seem to care. And like they had to call the medics over.
And then like after he came to, he was like, "Hey, can I get some pants?"
Like I've never been so out of it where I wouldn't notice if I was naked below the waist. I've got a concussion once, and I didn't know it at the time. But I dove playing football when I was like 11, and my head hit the ground, and I just remember everything went black, and I couldn't see, and it was daylight, and I just couldn't see anything anymore for a minute. I never told anybody.
All right.
I just kept trying to play and kept trying to run routes.
Oh, God. That's the worst thing to do. That is the literal. I mean,
it wasn't tackle football. It's just like the way that I landed. I just like hit my head, and then now looking back on it, I definitely got a concussion.
Yeah, but it's one thing to be like, oh, I should keep this a secret and not tell anyone. 2,
the game is still going.
It is a whole other thing to be like, I should just keep playing.
But you don't know in that moment.
No, I didn't know. And
but you knew something was wrong.
Well, in hindsight, I'm like, oh, I can't see anymore. Like, that should have been a very bad indication. But when you're a little kid,
you're just like, oh, I can see now.
Yeah, well, it was going in and out. Like, I remember... you ever remember when you're like you walk outside from like elementary school to like go out to recess and it's so bright that you can't really see at first?
That still happens to me.
Okay,
yes.
well imagine
I have very sensitive eyes.
Imagine that, but like times 50. And so that's what it was like. It was like so overwhelming that everything was just black, and then it would like kind of focus in, and I could see a little bit, and then it'd go away. And I was like, oh, I definitely had a concussion. And I mean, it literally short circuited my eyes. And I didn't tell anybody. I was staying at my grandparents' house.
You all right?
Great.
I'm,
Bless up.
hand to God.
Hand
Still
to
here.
God. Touch hands.
It's been 20 years, and I'm all right. Tommy's not all right. That's my note. Is he's not okay.
No, he's not.
Tasha and Jeremiah go, and
they just fall apart.
Well, okay.
Immediately.
So she does the thing that causes people who want to like help drowning people to die. So like what happens a lot of times is like rescuers or people who are decent swimmers go out to help someone who's struggling, and then that person freaks out so much that they cause that person to drown. And so Tasha, like Jeremiah seemed like he was above the water and fine, but then she started like clawing all over him and like pushing him under
like
the water.
trying to climb on his back.
Yeah, she was freaking out, and that caused him to freak out, and him go in the water.
And he like, I remember him like telling her like,
oh, he like yelled,
Tasha, you have to stop. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
And I was like, that's the example right there of people who can't swim well causing a rescuer to die because they're just panicking. And I was like, they need to both get out of there. And then they just kind of clung on the wall, and TJ's like, you guys done? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, man, this isn't the one for them. So they
were the
DQ'd.
only team to DQ.
Yeah, but then Kyle and who's he teamed up
Kyle
with?
and Amanda.
Yeah,
They went by themselves.
She jumped, and then he just didn't.
Yeah.
I think he's the only one that didn't jump with his partner. And
TJ was like, Kyle, what are you doing? And he goes, haha, I'm terrified of heights.
he did it though.
He did.
Well done.
Yeah.
My last note for this daily, I really like the way Corey Wharton has his hair done. It just looked really good. Like noticeably, it looked really good.
Was it anything different than what he's been doing?
Yeah,
It's what he's had, but when he pulled it back in that little ponytail, it for some reason it just looked so good, and I was like, man.
I guess I didn't notice that because it seemed like his hair's been the same.
Han, can you audibly start like doing that when we're watching? Just like, wow, what cool hair.
But don't give us. I was about to say, don't give us any context.
Okay, so when I have my thoughts, like,
yeah,
you're just like a comic book character. It's like, wham,
golly, gee willikers.
okay,
I like it. Come on,
okay.
Ann. Yeah.
So
it's like when Mickey Mouse goes, oh boy, right? Like
maybe.
The top two teams were separated by less than a second, which wasn't it Coriel and Michelle were the second place?
Yep.
And then the winners were Ed and Tori.
So Ed and Tori are the new power partners.
The agency? The agency.
Power partners.
So Ed basically says, he's like, I don't want to start any trouble. I'm just going to let Tori kind of deal with all the politics stuff.
Which is not how that works, because no matter who they vote for, even if he's not involved in the decision making and he's just repeating whatever name she says, that person that gets voted in is still going to be equally mad at him as well.
But you can switch partners a lot in this game.
But there is a method to not causing a ruckus in the house, which is what he chose. Which, if she decides to, it's still like separate from him.
Yeah,
even though
I don't
partners.
think anyone's got any heat at Ed. Like, Ed's not deleting his Twitter right now.
Yeah. Also, confirmed she did not delete it; she deactivated it. So
Well, I mean,
you can still pull up her
but it's like
her thing.
not there.
It'll give you like her handle, how many people she's following, how many people follow her, and that's it.
Yeah.
Doesn't even give a profile picture or anything.
y'all need
But
to cut that out.
it's still there for her to reactivate in 3 months when she thinks it's blown over.
You are still blocked by me.
Yeah.
By the way, if anybody was keeping up with that, There are no fantasy points involved there, but you are still blocked.
I mean, am I missing anything? I don't think so. I don't think you're revealing any like world-changing information on Twitter.
Only one way to find out.
Sure.
Drop in that comment section. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter.
Devin is worried. Oh, sorry. I skipped a line. Tori brings up that the vets and the rookies are even at 14 people apiece, which is true. Devin's worried about what it'll do if they rock the veteran alliance at all, because Tori's Big T voted me in last season, whatever. And then he said he's specifically worried about Emmanuel and Berna.
Yeah.
And
it was almost like Tori was seeking Devin's advice and wisdom on what to do and who to throw in. Because she told him specifically that she wanted to put in Big T because she's still mad that Big T made her go into elimination versus Anissa and then ultimately go home.
I think that would have been a good TV move. I think it's very dumb for Tori's standing in the game to go after Big T at this point.
Yeah, for how early on it is, and the vets are just now equal with all the rookies in the house. It's just, it would have been the dumbest thing in the world to do that.
And I would argue not only was she possibly seeking his advice, but approval.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of felt like that.
Well, one, I don't think Tori, even if he would have signed off on it, I don't think she has the balls to break up that alliance right now. Again, it's just Tori's in a almost
you know what it is?
an inflated sense of how good she is because of just who's here.
Do you know what it reminds me of? And it's a light version of it. But Kara's turn, where
it's not nearly as bad.
It's no. But I'm saying the correlation of all of a sudden Superboy crazy.
Well, the difference is at least Kara was winning stuff.
I get that, but you get what I'm saying? It's all of a sudden, she's kind of just throwing herself out
I will
there.
say a lot of people seem very annoyed with Tori from what I've seen. Which
was again. There's a similar correlation because that was not the case initially on the front end for Tori.
Yeah.
Just like Kara, right?
Yeah. Going back and watching old seasons, I think it's because I know how Kara is now. I don't even enjoy really watching her on old stuff anymore. Mm-hmm. But I think it's more so because
it's left a sour taste in your mouth.
Yeah. Which I'm not going to get into some things that Polly said this last week, but
it's out there. You can look it up yourself and see.
They
do some things that are insane, and
let me tell y'all how insane it was. I unfollowed him on Instagram.
Did you?
I did.
I don't follow him on Instagram. It's one of our listeners sent me what the things were, and you can go find out. It's all over Twitter. And I was just like, what? And then he sent me more of them. And I was like, what is he trying to do? And he's like, this guy didn't pass no psych exams to get back on the show.
And that's why he's not been back.
And I was like, yeah, well, you may be right on that.
It's after seeing some of that.
So that became a discussion in our Slack group, was Polly is fine on TV, but at the same time, that dude doesn't need a platform right now, or maybe ever again. He's doing things that are insane. I think with Bear's great TV, but Bear has done some very
horrible,
illegal,
awful-ish
things, posting things without people's consent, dating underage girls, and it's Bear doesn't need to be back on TV either, but I don't know. Polly's is just what are you doing, man? And anyway, I think I'd be fine if neither one of them came back. And that's
Bear
a lot.
And Polly?
Huh?
Bear and Polly?
I meant Kara and Polly, but I think Bear's not coming back. I don't think Bear's coming back. But yeah, you can go look all that up, guys. It's a not fun thing to read. Tommy comes into the house, and as soon as he walks in the house and there's no real music and he's walking in from the front door when no one else is, I was like, oh, he's going home.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's a medical thing.
Yeah.
And then he's like, hey, I got a concussion. And he's like, I got to go home. He's like, if it was like an arm injury, he's like, you got both arms. Like, you only got one head. And
he's right.
That is deductive math right there.
I mean, he's a fourth grade
level math too, right?
Hey, he got promoted recently though.
Yeah, he's an assistant principal. I think he's done. Like, so he won $1 million on Survivor. The thing is, he apparently was a huge challenge fan, and so it sucks that this is how he went out. But I mean, if you're an assistant principal, I don't see how you could get the time off to get away to film.
Unless you do it in the summer.
And it would have to only be filming like during your summer break. And then like I just feel like that this may be the only time we see him on the show. Which kind of sucks because I liked him. He seemed like a good competitor. So he's gone. Which at this point is where we paused and I was like, whose team is he on? I was like, so I get Amber B from here on out.
Right.
Because we said whoever gets a medical DQ gets the alternate. So we get into deliberation. I don't remember who brought it up, but somehow Tasha and Jeremiah got put on the spot to like defend themselves. And neither one of them did a great job.
Well,
Jeremiah was worse.
Tasha opens up and brought it on herself.
But I think like they knew because they DQ'd.
Yeah.
They were the only team that DQ'd, and they're all rookie team. That like they're probably going to be the vote. It's the easy vote.
Yeah, and you're supposed to be pleading your case, which Tasha speaks and didn't really say one way or another. But Jeremiah kind of followed her up, and he was like, at the end of the day, it's just a game. You got to do what you got to do. So I was like, it's not.
Let's just
not
say
a lot of pleading coming from either one of them.
Jeremiah, to me, it doesn't seem like so. Kel's like. Was so like calm and measured as a rookie in that pressure,
and he was locked in.
Yeah, Jeremiah seemed like he just was like grasping for it's what we do, and if I got to do it, I'll do. Like there's no substance to it.
Yeah,
very like typical sports athlete in that we're here to compete.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, come on, dude.
It wasn't really
you're
like
here to win $1 million.
It wasn't saying anything one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that was when Devin piped up and he was like, okay, well, this brings the question I like to ask, if not you, then who?
Which is a great veteran move.
Yeah.
Like, put pressure on them to
and
see who's going to crack.
Make them call someone else's name so that you don't get any blame for that. And Tasha immediately opened up and said, Michelle and Coriel.
Which was a weird... maybe we missed something with them?
I don't know, but like Corey 12 Dates piped up immediately and he was like, but why? And she said, well, I have to say your name. And he was like, why do you have to say my name?
I mean, he's right.
He's absolutely right.
It's also a bad move because you know there's a vet alliance, so why would you vote a rookie team in to further diminish your numbers?
So see, that's where I think there is the disconnect between the rookies and the vets. Is like the vets are clearly all, hey, we're going old school on this. Rookies only as long as possible.
Yeah.
And the rookies, even though they have the same amount of numbers, I don't think that they've put it all together where they're like, hey, we can do this if we would stick together. And so they're just afraid that, oh, well, if it's us, then I got to go after someone else, so maybe they'll forget about us, instead of just like, again, they should have gone after a vet team, or a team at least with one vet on it.
Yeah, a vet and rookie team.
Yeah,
to be like, well, this person's a rookie and this vet didn't do well in the daily.
Maybe they're thinking like, oh, well, if we do this, if we go after another rookie team, maybe the vets will side with us, but they're not going to. Like, it's just that's where like the big disconnect with the rookies is this season, it seems.
And then there were some vets that were talking at some point in this episode. I don't remember who it was or when it was, but I do remember hearing it, where they were like, some of these rookies that are partnered with veterans don't even care what the vets are doing. They're just there for the ride.
That's smart. Don't rock the boat.
Kind of how Ed is with Tori. Ed's like, I'm just gonna let Tori do whatever she wants. Logan is like that with Anissa. Berna's kind of like that with CT.
I mean, there's no, like, if you have a vet who's part of this alliance who you're currently partnered with, there's no reason to like die on a hill for a rookie that you met like 8 days ago. because again, it's for $1 million. And so
this is when Devin throws out that since Tommy has been DQ'd, Big T does not have a partner anymore, and there's not been anybody else show up to take his place. So he said there's a really real legitimate possibility that it is strictly a women's elimination.
Yeah, and I thought that was a good possibility going into this once Tommy went home, because you got to keep because this is a partnered season so much, you've got to keep the numbers the same, and you're not doing the rogue agents or whatever like we had last season. Like it's double eliminations each week.
You have to have a partner at all times.
Yeah, and so the thing was, Josh looked at Big T and he was like, "Hey, do you want to like speak up, like, because like you're clearly like on the block here."
Well, Tori called out Big T,
but before that, Josh was like, "Do you want to talk?" And she's like, "No." And I was like, "Well, that's the wrong move," because like clearly Devin had just pointed out that she's in a weird position, and also she knows she's not in with the Vet Alliance, and she's not even really in with the Rookie Alliance because she's 29 and this is her 4th season.
Oh, and also not good at the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's why Tori should never have really considered her, because the rookies are more of a threat than Big T will be.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, some of y'all don't like to hear that, but it's true, Zach.
No, you don't have to tell me.
Like, for this to be your fourth season, is that right?
Yeah.
And you still don't know how to play this game.
Well, and like she still is looked at as a rookie, like by everyone.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's just, I don't know. Like I think people don't even look at Amber. I mean, granted, Amber B did win last season.
Y'all want to be a fan of a girl who's clueless? Yeah, by all means, then.
That's one of Hannah's favorite movies.
Yeah.
Clueless? That is one of my favorite movies.
So they vote. Tatcha and Jeremiah are the vote. I mean, it's pretty clear. After that, Big T wants to talk with Tori outside, so they go, and then somehow Kyle just shows up.
Kyle was like the mediator.
And like, yeah, Tori was like, I mean, I'm thinking about voting you in, and Kyle's just like, well, if that happens, like, you're blowing up the Vet Alliance, and she's like, I think Tori doesn't think that, like, doesn't see it that way.
Well, she argued, she's like, I have other people that are a threat in this game, but what you did to me last season was wrong, and so if I call your name, it would make a lot of sense and nobody would question that move. And then Kyle was like, you're gonna open a whole Pandora's box, so you have to really weigh, is revenge on Big T right this very moment worth more than a very delicate veterans alliance where you have veterans who have backstabbed each other in the past, but they have agreed to bury it for the time being until the rookies are out of the house.
Once that line's crossed, is done.
Yeah,
like
they're all going for the throats of everybody.
I will say, the only veteran you could cross off there would be Big T, and people would be like, I get it. Like, they're like, she's not really part of the veteran alliance, because
even the veterans don't consider her part of it, because
she says it. She's like, I feel like the veterans don't even talk to me, and it's like, I feel like they're talking about me and they're leaving me out of things. I was like, yeah, they are.
Well,
like,
during that deliberation, when Tori called out Big T in front of the whole house, she told her, she was like, we don't know if you're with the vets or with the rookies.
Which, by the way, I know we've kind of gone past that. Like, Tori calling her out in that situation, it's not a good move when you have the power anyway.
Yeah,
it's really showing your hand, and like how you're like, oh, I'm really going to like be very petty about, and she's trying to like joke about it, but like, it's like, no, like, that's really what you want to do.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's not smart. It's not a smart political move.
Tori's not playing smart this season so far.
It's a weird
like
Tori season.
It's a weird Tori season. I've been fairly disappointed in just her entire presence this season so far. Now, hopefully she gets back to being herself and competing a little better and just playing politically a lot smarter. But so far, I've been a little disappointed.
Well, then the next thing she does is she goes to Tatcha and Jeremiah, and she asks them who they want. And Tatcha wants Michelle, which I think is a bad move, personally, because I feel like Michelle's pretty strong, and she's already won an elimination. There's some other people that you could, like Bettina, or there's other people you could go after that are rookies, or things like that. But she's like, who do you want? And Tasha told her, and she did shake Tasha's hand.
Mm-hmm. She said, "Okay, I'm going to see what I can do." But Tori sought out
I know,
Tasha.
like, why?
She went to find her and approached her in Tasha's room.
I feel like that was just like, oh, I need to do this for camera. Like, she's like, oh, I've got power right now. I know that this will make the episode if I go talk to them about it. And I don't know. It's a strange thing. I do think Tasha ultimately would have been in a bad spot going against Michelle, but Berna was like this elimination was
made for
Berna, and it was still freaking hard for her.
But like, here's the thing: immediately after Tori left, Tasha said in her confessional, she's like, "I think Tori's kind of fake, but she came to me and made this promise, so maybe my intuition was wrong about her." To which apparently it was not.
I don't remember how the quote came up, but right after this is when Ashley said, the 2 stones, 1 bird thing. And
a lot of time spent with Nelson there.
Well, that Ashley's sister got on Twitter and she's like, oh, she starts sleeping with Nelson and then starts talking like him.
Which is a funny burn.
Yeah, and clearly not the phrase. But I don't even remember what it's in reference to. I'm assuming it's rookies taking each other out.
She wanted Tori to throw in Berna.
That's right, because she doesn't like Berna.
Because Berna had apparently moved in with Nelson.
Yeah.
And she wants Berna gone so that she can get Nelson's attention back. And so she's like, if Tori throws out Berna, that kills 2 stones and 1 bird.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever tried to kill a bird with a stone?
Zach, I killed a squirrel with a BB gun one time.
That's not what I asked you.
But
that's what people in our area grow up doing. That's like how we first start doing target practice when we're 8.
I remember as like Jake and I lived in a similar like neighborhood. Like we were like a couple blocks from each other, but I had woods behind my house. And I remember at like 8 years old, I had a BB gun and I would just go out with that and like try to shoot birds in my backyard. I never hit anything. But I was like, oh, that's what you do. You go shoot birds.
And I'd stick my head out of the back door at my house, and I'd go, "Did you get that bird?"
We weren't that close. Like we would, if you were yelling, your neighbor would be like, "What are you talking about?"
Who are you talking to?
Yeah. I mean, it was just like a little like one of those 1 pump like BB guns,
pump action rifle.
It was like the Red Ryder ones from like A Christmas Story.
Red Ryder pump action.
I've got
rifle.
one like that.
Yeah.
I used to shoot old bean cans. My mom would make beans, and she'd take the little wrapper off of it, and then my dad would, because my parents own 80 acres of woods, and so me and my dad,
that's not what I was laughing at.
Me and my dad would take the cans and like put them in ditches, on tree stumps, like really close, really far away, like just for target practice, and then that's how I'm a really good shot with a gun.
When she was talking, I was just like, she's like, I used to shoot old bean cans, and like in my mind, I was thinking like that. Yeah, that's my neighbor, bean cans. I used to shoot old bean cans.
I thought I didn't. That's not what I heard when you started.
Like that was somebody's nickname.
I heard Bing Bong.
I used to shoot old Bing Bong.
You both are so stupid.
Yeah. Again, like we live in Tennessee. It's weird. Hannah.
Yeah, we grew up shooting Bing Bong.
Hannah's dad was just like, "Oh, hey, I have a shotgun that your grandfather left for you when you were like 4."
Yeah, hey, Dad, you got any Bing Bongs?
We just got another shotgun, by the way.
Just as funny if you were like, "Dad, you got any bean cans?"
He probably does. I was off work yesterday, and
I called Dad for some Bing Bongs.
Yeah, I wanted. My mom was off work yesterday, and I was off work yesterday, and so we were like, well. I decided to go down to their house and just kind of hang out at the pool and have dinner together with them. And my dad had called me late the night before and then texted me the next morning, and he was like, "Hey, I've got a shotgun for you next time you come in." And sure enough, I came to the house and he's like, "Hey, you want that shotgun?" And I was like, "Yeah." So he did. He put it in the back of my car, and it's in the house now.
One of my favorite things that you do is you kick at twang in the high gear sometimes.
Man, you should hear her when she gets on the phone with her mom.
Boy, it flips. It flips. You start walking around. Howdy, y'all.
Howdy, y'all. Bing Bong.
Bing Bong. And You'll start talking to your mom. Went down to the grocery store. Zach, he took the dog out back.
Stop.
But it's...
Listen, when I got to the house yesterday, my grandma was there, and I walked in and she goes, Hannah, you like corn? And I said, yeah, Grandma, I love corn.
She doesn't have a Southern accent.
She's Filipino.
Yeah.
And she's like, I got corn. And she had 6 bags of corn still in the husk. And she's like, take some home. And I said, no, that's okay. I have corn in a can. And she said, she said, no, take it.
So she goes down there, and she comes back with bags of raw corn and a shotgun.
In the husk.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that's what...
And frozen egg rolls. She made me take more frozen egg rolls. Because here's the thing. I was on my way down there, and it's about an hour drive. And I called my mom to let her know I was on the way. And she's like, well,
we're all out of bing bongs.
Stop. We weren't planning on Grandma going over there. And she was like, I just got off the phone with your grandmother, and she's on her way here. And I told her that you were coming. And she said, oh, no, I have egg rolls at home. So she literally was, she said she was 5 minutes away from my mom's house. And when she heard I was coming in, literally turned around and drove all the way home. She lives in another town. It's like a 30-minute drive. Turned around, went home to get a bag of frozen egg rolls that she made.
Which, by the way,
bring them back up.
What's going to happen?
So that I can take them home.
Yeah, what's going to happen is they're going to sit in our freezer for like a year and a half.
I always forget that I have them.
Throw them away.
I literally always forget that I have them.
As soon as she showed up, she's like, guess what this is? I was like, oh, more things we're going to throw away in a year.
It's a dozen handmade egg rolls.
So we get to the lair, and Tori picks Berna, which, by the way, MTV kind of played their hand on this, because in all of the confessionals, Berna had a cut on the bridge of her nose, and it wasn't like that leading into the elimination. So I was like, clearly she's in the... What are you doing?
I was looking at the timestamp.
Okay. Clearly she's in, I would say, in the elimination, because she has some sort of like mark on her.
Well, we saw it before the daily.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because we had seen a cut on...
But we saw her after the daily, and it wasn't there.
And we're like, okay, then she's got to be going into elimination.
Yeah, so she picks Berna, Ed agrees, and then Ed picks Corey 12, and...
Which, why?
I don't get...
Why not pick Jeremiah? Because that was the other guy that was in the hot seat.
No, Jeremiah was already down there.
Oh, that's right.
But you can pick anybody. You can pick Gabo.
Yeah, literally
you can
pick like anybody.
The only explanation I can come up with for why Corey 12 keeps getting picked is, and it's this has been done on previous seasons, is, well, this is the first guy we voted in.
Yeah,
let's not upset anyone else.
Yeah. Kind of like they did with Wes.
He's already been voted in.
The season we're going back and watching through now, Rivals 2.
Yeah.
Just keep throwing Cara and Cook in, right? Like, why?
Yeah.
So that actually, I haven't listened to it yet. Johnny Bananas has his own challenge podcast now on The Ringer.
Really?
And Wes was on it talking about this episode. And I haven't listened to it. I saw it in the Slight group. But they were saying, like, Wes is like... Honestly, he's like, doing that on Fresh Meat to me made me so much better, because he's like, I was the only one that was doing the eliminations, and I just kept coming back and kept coming back and kept coming back, and people hadn't seen the eliminations and they didn't know what they were getting into. And he's like, it kept me in front of everyone on TV, so people knew who I was. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you're gonna keep doing it with Corey, and he's just gonna keep being there. And
plus, if they only have so many eliminations to cycle through, if he keeps getting picked, once they recycle an elimination, he already has an upper hand, because he knows what he did in the last one, what not to do, what to do.
Well, to be fair, he's only done one elimination at this point, and
he's done 2, hasn't he?
1.
He got sent down for this one, but he...
Oh, that's right. He didn't actually have to do anything.
And so I do like that that TJ made them say his name, like, pick the guy, and then like, well, guess what? Neither one of you playing, so go back up there. And they're like, well, why'd you make us pick him? It was like, so it could cause problems in the house.
I'm gonna take a stab and say that every elimination will be different.
I hope so.
I don't think they're gonna repeat any elimination.
Really?
And you're eliminating 2 people at a time. Mm-hmm. I like that there's no gold skull so far.
Yeah, I was kind of done with those.
So, basically, they get into the elimination. It's called slipping up, and they said you must use every single pole. There's like 10 or 12 poles, and you're basically...
It's a tricky elimination, because like...
You're basically building a ladder.
These poles don't like slide into a groove or something where it holds in place.
And it's not at an angle to where it's like gravity will hold it.
So like any momentum of you falling backwards is going to pull.
I was looking at the like bracket that's holding them. It did look like there was a slight bump on the end, but it was not enough to stop it.
It's not going to like hold it.
No. And it's level. It's not like tilted down to where it's going to stay. So like we saw it, like both of them knocked off I don't know how many poles, that when they're working on other ones, they were knocking other ones with their knees off.
Right, but like even the momentum of you falling back, like your foot even like rolling over that pole is pulling it back.
I mean, it's a good elimination because
it's so nerve wracking, and it gets to a point like once you've knocked these poles off so many times, you're in your head about mentally.
Yeah, and like towards the end of this elimination, at one point, Berna has all of her poles up except one, and she's just standing there like with her hands on her hips, looking at it and like taking it all in. Probably she's tired at this point, catching her breath.
There's got to be some sort of like sense of her being demoralized too, just like
it's like because she's an acrobat or whatever, grew up doing circus stuff, so like this should be right up her alley. But it's a super stressful one. And then like halfway through, she knocks one of the poles off, and then it hits the bridge of her nose and makes her bloody. And she's like, "I'm just gonna fight through it, just keep going." Which I mean, it's the right move, but it's I mean, there is strategy to it because you have to use the shorter poles at the bottom and then the longer ones as you work your way up. But more than anything, it's just like calming your nerves enough to not knock the poles off as you're climbing, but also to have the strength to keep climbing that thing over and over again.
Yeah, you have to be in a very calm state of mind, because if you get in a panic and you start rushing, that's when you start getting clumsy, and that will absolutely cost you. Yeah,
I like this elimination, and I wonder how long it actually went on for, because it seemed like it lasted a while.
They knocked several off as they were climbing to put one up like higher. They would knock off one with their thighs or with their feet.
I mean that's what made it a hard elimination, and so. I mean, ultimately it boiled down and, Berna wins, but I mean, that is a stressful, like, taxing elimination.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, she wins, and I think I said Berna.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
I think that, we knew she had the upper hand just based on her background. I mean, but Tatcha like did fine. Like they
were neck and neck right towards the end.
It's just I don't. That's an interesting elimination where like if you had like CT versus like Nelson, or like I don't know who would win that. I think it's just whoever could hold it together.
Well, like when Jeyyy beat CT a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah,
like
that elimination was a little weird,
but it's one of those like. There's a lot more like logic and like brain power involved, and like taking your time and like
it's methodical,
methodical processing this out and everything.
Yeah. I don't know if we're gonna get a new elimination every week, for the whole season, but it would have. So what do you do if you have a guys and girls? Do you build it at the same time? Like if it's both going together?
It could be kind of like the elimination that we saw in All Stars, where they had to build the ladder together.
Well, yeah, when Hysela tore
and then Hysela just didn't do it, but where it's meant to be a partnered thing.
Yeah, I guess you just have to use all the poles and only one of you has to get up to the bell. It'd have to be something like that. But anyway, good elimination. I have a quote, and I don't know who said it. It may have been Esther, but someone said, "I will fight for you, okay?"
Berna
it was Berna.
Tasha that.
Berna won and then hugged.
I was thinking it was the Nigerian Big Brother.
Berna hugged Tasha and told her that she made Nigeria proud by how well she did. And then Tasha whispered in her ear to go after Tori.
Yeah.
And then when they break the hug, Tasha calls out Tori in front of everybody there.
Oh, she wasn't having it either. Like she's like, no, you're not going to get to talk. I'm going to talk right now.
Yeah.
And like Tori was kind of like playing the victim in this, like, what did I do? And it's like, nah, Tasha's not having it. Like, she's gonna let you know how she feels.
Yeah, and she was like, you know exactly what you did. You're the one that came to me. You came into my room. I did not approach you. And it was like a whole thing.
It's moments like this. I know it's fresh because we've watched Tasha for 3 episodes.
Yeah,
but it's like, man, how great would it be to like get a Rivals 4?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but there's enough that has happened since Rivals 3.
Have we ever? I don't think we've had anything go past the 3. Like, we've had Gauntlet 3, we've had Inferno 3, we've had Rivals 3.
They do.
I don't think we've had any 4s.
They do the season themes in trilogies.
Yeah, but like
typically.
Well, I mean, no, we've had a lot of one-off seasons. It's pretty rare.
Free agents.
Cutthroat and free agents, but
Bloodlines.
A lot of them,
Invasions
for the most part, are
we've only had
trilogy themes.
we've only had 3, I think, that are trilogies.
No,
and it's the Inferno, the Gauntlets, and Rivals. I don't think we've had anything else that are trilogies.
Well, there's like
these recent ones.
There's like story continuations of Final Reckoning.
But that's
Final Reckoning, Total Madness, and
30-30.
Those are like
Vendettas.
So. You had War of the Worlds 1 and 2. Total Madness was technically like the 3rd one in that, but I wouldn't call that like a trilogy really. It was just like a production cycle because typically when they renew these seasons, they renew these shows, they renew them for 3 seasons at a time. So you just have the same production crew doing it from then on out.
I thought War of the Worlds 1, 2, Total Madness were a season trilogy.
It was a story.
Yeah, but
it was a story-oriented thing.
I got that was a trilogy put together.
I don't think that's the only trilogies I would say, and even like the Gauntlet and the Infernos, those weren't like back to back seasons. Those were like spaced out, and like we had like the Duel, we got 2 of those. We got 2 Fresh Meats.
But it's a formula. I'm talking about Rivals in particular because it's a formula that works.
Oh yeah.
It works like super well.
Like you're either working great together, like CT and Wes, or you are just a dumpster fire, like Dunbar and Tyree.
You would
because they hated each other's.
Because you're our resident Dunbar.
Oh, you know what? I will say this: Tyree, he follows us on Twitter, and we've talked back and forth. We talked about it, bringing him on the show before. It's just timing's never really worked out. Because he wants to talk about rap music and comics and wrestling and stuff. Mm-hmm. But he posted something that I retweeted the other day that his mom is in the hospital struggling with COVID and actually just lost her husband to COVID.
Oh, no.
And so he was posting links to where you could donate to them. And I retweeted that. If you guys want to go back on our Twitter, which follow us on Twitter anyway, but at Smashing Heads, you can see that his name on there is not Tyree Ballard, and his @ is not Tyree Ballard, but that it's him that we retweeted it, and so I can't imagine what that's like. Like your mom's in the hospital struggling with that, and just lost her husband to that. So if anybody can give that, they had their Venmo and like Cash App stuff up on there. So I figured I'd signal boost that a little bit because I didn't see his tweet. I saw Brandon Nelson post about it, and so I went back and found it and went from there.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, so his @ right
Triple
now
B's.
is Triple B's TRIPLEBEEES.
Yeah, that's Tyree from about 5 or 6 different seasons. But anyway, Touch is going after Tori. Tori just can't even talk, and then Touch is not letting her talk, and then as Touch is leaving, she's like, I love every one of you except Tori. And
which I thought was funny.
Yeah. And so then Berna gets to pick her partner. She can infiltrate. She can take somebody else's partner, whatever, except for Tori and Ed. And I was like, I think she's going to stick with CT because...
They've worked well together.
Well, and CT's in the Vet Alliance, and CT won last season.
Mm-hmm. And he's been laying low.
I don't think you rocked the boat in that. I mean, it would have been funny if she picked Devin again, but she picked CT and stayed there. So that means Big T and Jeremiah are now a team. So that's in that episode.
I have a question.
Okay.
At the beginning of this elimination, when Tori and Ed picked the two people to go into elimination, TJ announced, once again, I'm looking at 4 rookies. Well done, vets. Did we not get in the first episode at the very beginning, TJ said it was X amount of American players and then X amount of world players? And it was kind of like they were trying, production or whoever was trying to like play up that it's America versus the world, and like that was kind of the theme that they were going for. But it was almost like the people in the house, especially the vets, were like, no, it's rookies versus vets.
Well, you've already had War of the Worlds 2.
Yeah.
Which was very strictly like the U.S. versus everyone else. And I mean, honestly, there are more or equal amount of rookies as there are anything else, even though, you had Kyle and Nam that arrived with all the like foreigners that came in late and they had to go rescue the Americans, which some of them were rookies, which like Michelle, Tommy, all those people. There's still a divide. Like there's vets and there's rookies. And so like, TJ's done a million of these before. I wonder if they're calling it out because they're like, we don't want just vets to skate through this whole season. Like, we want to like let the rookies know, like, oh, you guys are getting your butts handed to you because it's only you guys coming down here every week.
Well, I didn't know if maybe like the original plan was to be kind of like War of the Worlds, where it's the Americans versus the world players. And then because the vets are so focused on vets versus rookies, that production's like, you know what? It's vets versus rookies, whatever.
I don't think there has been a specific.
No, I mean the theme is spies, lies, and allies. Like, I mean that's the theme. They're trending on double agents, and like it's all about like espionage and like, oh, who can you trust and all that type of stuff. Which
that's every
as a
season.
Gimmick, I don't really care about. It's better so far than double agents to me. But
and even War of the Worlds 1 wasn't War of the Worlds.
You just had a lot of new foreign people.
War of the Worlds 2 was the only one that was like USA against the world.
But in War of the Worlds 1, you had a equal amount of new blood from all across the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where it was like you had a group of veterans and a group, but it was an individual game. In War of the Worlds 2, it was a team game. Which honestly, that wasn't a great season, but I liked that you could like defect and join the other team, and like it had some cool twists.
Yeah, because it was the world team that ended up winning, but it was like half Americans that were on it.
I guess I don't even remember how it all shook out at the end. But anyway, let's get into superlatives for this episode. Who smashed some heads?
I'll go. Hughie for vomiting on himself, then kissing Ashley, then jumping off a cliff, and then being the fastest swimmer.
In that round, yeah. I mean, good for him. Like, again, he's not a threat to me for overall competition, but he's fun to watch.
What a whirlwind performance.
Yeah. And he's a perfect pairing with Ashley.
Yeah, they're perfect. Perfect together.
CT smashed Devin's head because he told him to suck it.
Oh yeah,
he did because
he was the pick.
Devin's no longer number 1 draft pick.
For who smashed heads, I'm gonna give it to Tasha, man. Like, went home, but man, she's letting Tori know where she stood, and then it led to Tori deactivating Twitter. So that's where I'm at. Who got their head smashed?
I put Corey 12 dates, which he didn't really get smashed, but I mean, at the beginning of this episode, he's opening up about fears for being continuously thrown into elimination because his name is the name that's been called. And then he ended up getting called into elimination again anyway. But glad for him, he didn't have to go.
I mean, Tommy.
Tommy was mine, yeah.
Yeah.
He literally smashed his head so hard he had to go home.
Yeah.
And so...
I forgot about Tommy.
Yeah, like... That was mine for sure, because it was just
Can I change mine to Tommy?
Yeah, I think that's... like
he literally got his head
easiest
smashed.
smashed head.
Like, he... I don't think we've had people sitting home for, like, broken shoulders and whatever. Like, we've never had someone that's hit their... Since we've been doing this. Like, hit their head so hard that... Oh, you know what? Didn't Rogan, like, flatten Jeyyy to where he got a concussion and he got sent home?
Yeah, because he couldn't breathe. He sounded like he'd been hit by a truck. Yeah. And
so
his
I guess
lung was collapsed.
That was one. But, like, this was just Tommy did it on his own. And, you know, I think that's the best literal case right there is for Tommy. So that was mine. So what do you recommend to people this week? Again, it's not just songs. You can do songs. It can be TV, movies, video games.
Anything
books.
Pop culture.
Yeah.
I wrote these yesterday. Twitter.
You're recommending Twitter.
I'm recommending Twitter. Now, here's the thing. I've been mostly off of social media for a few months. I'll get on here and there for a few minutes, but I've been mostly off of social media. And it's been really great for my mental health. But boy, I'll get on Twitter like once a week, once every 2 weeks, and my timeline is just perfect. I'll get little dog videos. I get videos of people getting hit by things, just funny stuff. And Twitter can be an amazing place. But also that was before I've heard earlier in this episode that Tatcha's fans made Tori deactivate her Twitter. So
I don't follow Tori. So
I don't follow Tori either, but
I typically only follow people from the challenge that we've interviewed and like met.
Mm-hmm. Depending on who you interact with, Twitter can be a bit of a toxic place. That's just how like the internet is. But Twitter, my timeline is just, I have worked so hard to make it perfect for me, and it really is. So Twitter.
Jake, are you going to recommend Facebook?
No,
I am not.
Facebook is awful.
I think the greatest in studio like sports crew is the Inside the NBA.
It's like you're going to recommend a sports crew?
No. That's what you should do.
On HBO Max, there's a 4-episode little mini doc series on the Inside the NBA.
Oh, so like Ernie Johnson.
Shaq,
Charles
Chuck,
Barkley.
and Kenny.
Yeah, I haven't watched it.
And each episode is for each individual.
Oh, okay.
It's really good. I actually teared up a couple of times, man. There's like some really like heartfelt stuff in there.
Ernie's family stories are...
has to be one of the most incredible human beings alive. Yeah, he has to be.
I know about his background some. I haven't watched that. I didn't know about it.
But that's the only I'll stay up to watch them even if the game was on that I just don't care about.
Yeah, I'll go through and get on like NBA on TNT's YouTube channel to watch stuff from other ones about games that I don't know about or whatever.
Yeah.
Charles Barkley is one of my favorite people of all time.
But you watch them and it's like, this will never be replicated again. Like, it just won't, right?
No.
Not these kind of characters.
And, like, it's not like Kendrick Perkins and, like, Ryan Hollins or whatever that are on ESPN. I haven't watched that. I did start watching Hard Knocks the other night, this season of Hard Knocks, but I haven't, not too far
You would
into
like
it.
the Inside the NBA.
Yeah, I love that crew. So, for me, though, I'm picking, actually, a comic book called Oblivion Song because... one, it's been my favorite one since issue number 1. It's Robert Kirkman, who did The Walking Dead, who did Invincible. But it just so happens that they announced this week that there's a movie coming out for Oblivion Song that Jake Gyllenhaal is producing and starring in. And, like, knowing the comic, like, that's perfect casting for that. And so it actually wraps up in like 3 months. Like there's like only like 3 issues left. They're only doing 36 issues and then thing's done. But it's really good. So that's mine.
I'm kind of excited for the movie.
Oblivion Song.
It's going to be really good. Just knowing like the concept of the comic plus Jake Gyllenhaal. I like most things that he's in.
Yeah, I think he's solid. I mean, I didn't watch Prince of Persia, but
no, I didn't either.
Did you watch Prince of Persia?
I didn't.
It's supposed to be very bad.
He's got nice hair in that. He's a good-looking guy.
He is a good-looking guy. Donnie Darko is one of my favorite movies.
Great first name.
Is that his
Jake?
First? Yeah. He was like a.
Is that his first name? Is that what you just asked?
He did.
No.
He did. Is that his first name? And I think he caught himself.
No, because some people go by his name's Jacob Benjamin Gyllenhaal.
Also a great first name because my real name is Jacob.
And
there you go.
His middle name starts with a B.
Oh my God.
Whoa, you guys are almost the same person.
And his last name starts with a letter that's only 3 letters prior to mine.
That's too much
Oh
of
my
a stretch.
gosh. Whoa, this is crazy.
All right, so
two letters before mine.
well,
Wow. Hey,
Gyllenhaal.
and you know, a first name and a last name, 1, 2, 2.
There's 2 of us.
There's 2. And there's 2 of you.
That's what I said.
Wow.
There's 2 of us. Wow. That's a sitcom I would watch.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna get into.
Two and a half Jakes.
Just 2 whole Jakes.
There used to be a sitcom back in the day called Jake and the Fat Man.
That's incredibly rude.
That's just
Yeah.
that's what it was called, and it was about like a detective that was really fat.
Yeah.
Well, who was Jake?
He was another detective.
But he wasn't fat.
Cause I
He's looking it up.
have a cousin named Jake, and his dad was a big guy, and he used to want to open his own restaurant called Jake and the Fat Man, which would have actually been really funny.
That would have been really funny.
That's it right there. There it is.
That's the fat man.
That is the Fat Man.
All right.
Wow.
I don't know.
I mean, I never watched the show. It looks like it's from the 80s. But all right, let's get into our fantasy stuff, and I will be posting the breakdown of the score on Patreon in the show notes.
All right, so before I get into the fantasy points here, this segment is brought to you by Skechers. Go running. So, what were you pointing at me for? You want something?
No, we gotta always announce our sponsor.
I was looking at you.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you wanted to announce it together. But
Oh no, I didn't remember it.
Skechers go running.
Skechers. Go
All right.
running.
So let's start off here. Ed and Devin get carried into the house. That's 5 points. There, we all like to be carried in.
Mm-hmm.
Bridal style.
Yes. All Devin seems to have to do is point at himself to get picked. That's 10 points because that is real power. But this was I caught this off of a window reflection.
Oh.
So you guys may not have even seen
You
it.
did
It was
some-
during the cabbage eating session for Ed and Tori. But it looked like Josh and Bettina had a little love action going on in the back.
Oh.
I'm going to give that 10 points.
I did not see that.
Yeah.
I
It's
didn't
early in the episode, so you can go
either.
watch.
I'm not going to.
We get an Ed and Tori dinner date. That's 10 points.
But they're only eating cabbage. That should be like -30.
Well, that's also a -5 to each of them because who eats just cabbage?
Yeah.
Literally only psychopaths.
Tori said she is an old, battered, and weathered vet. That's -5. They finish each other's sentences. 5 points to each of them.
I thought they were going to do the thing from Frozen where we finish each other's sandwiches.
Yeah. I thought that's what they were gonna do.
Big T doesn't know why people wouldn't trust her with plans. -5. She's also getting left out of the vet's plans. -10 because we're 4 years into this. Or seasons, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Nelly T's boot camp. That's 15 points because he is the up-and-coming Sean T. Wow.
Yeah, that's what it
Get
was.
the correlation there?
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Berna is struggling with her emotions. -5. It's never a good thing.
Where's Burnt? Oh, up here.
But Nelson is feeling the vibes with her. 5 points to Berna.
All right.
Gabo doesn't understand the game. -5.
But he's honest about
He
it.
audibly said,
Yeah.
I don't understand the game.
Yeah.
Emmanuel, Michelle Love connection, 10 points
To each.
to each. According to Michelle, Emmanuel is an uncut gem that she wants to polish up. 5 points to Emmanuel. Ashley thinks the terrain is rugged. This was as they were walking out to the daily. That's -5. Rough terrain's rough. Rugged terrain is rough. You know what? 5 points to Big T because she warned everyone to watch their steps.
But then she's like, just kidding. I hope you fall.
Yeah.
She did say that.
Huey doesn't like heights. -5.
I got to find him because I know we're about to go on a
That's
run
on my team.
with him.
Yep.
There we go.
But I will give him 10 points for the statement, I don't know why anyone enjoys heights. I think that's great logic. 10 points. He just threw up. -15. Ashley did recognize his cake, though. 10 points to Huey.
She called it fake, though.
It doesn't matter. That's a cake. -10 to Ashley because she kissed him after he threw up.
Yeah.
That was gross.
Let's see. Anissa pulls a Casey and explains the game to us. -10. A lion is coming out of Huey, 10 points. He also turned into a fish, 10 points.
It's a lionfish, which are very poisonous.
And he also feels like he is going to die, but is becoming a superhero, 10 points.
Are these 10 for all of those?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we got a lion, a fish, and a superhero. So
Yeah.
Michelle's got blood, -5. Let's see here.
God
Well,
blood?
first of all,
I mean,
but
we
she's-
all have blood.
But she's tough, 10 points. We get a CT booty shot, 15 points. But Tommy's wiener is out, 20 points.
Yeah.
Casey tries to make a moon joke that did not land, -5.
You're telling me she doesn't have great comedic timing?
Yeah. Wasn't funny.
Nobody laughed.
According to Tatcha, she is not supposed to see wieners, so -5.
She did. She's like, I am not supposed to see this.
Well, Huey was like, "This is the best day of my life." It's like
5 points.
this guy's about to die, but I saw his penis.
5 points to Huey. Let's see. 5 points to Tommy because he asked for pants. He did realize he wasn't wearing any pants. Good self-awareness there. We get more CT booty work, 10 points.
You call that booty work?
Yeah.
He mooned on purpose that time.
I will give Tommy 10 points because, according to CT, he has 3 legs. Jeremiah's a dog. 5 points.
Did he at one time say like, "I'm from"?
He's on my team.
I'm from the SIP, like Mississippi, or I'm from.
Maybe.
He said something.
Do you say 5 or 10?
5.
He said something to hype him and Tatcha up.
And then
before
they did
started.
real bad.
Well, -10 to Tatcha because she's drowning her own teammate.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
And then they both DQ'd.
At one point, Esther screamed during her confessional. I don't like that. That's -5.
I remember
Yeah.
that, and they like superimposed it over what was happening. I don't remember what the reason was though.
She was talking about the waves that were coming in and out in the cave.
Ed and Tori win. That's 25.
There's a motorcycle outside.
You think it picked that up?
I don't know, but it was really
really
loud.
15 to each of them for being the agency, and also 15 to each of them for being safe. Yeah?
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm going to give 5 points to Corey and Michelle because they were a second, like that close.
Corey 12,
Corey 12 and
I've
Michelle.
got both Corys anyway.
but I need to know where it goes. And then Michelle. Yeah,
Yeah.
less than a second.
Ed just wants to cruise a little bit. 5 points. That's in reference to him just wanting to lay back, like Tori, stir up everything.
Yeah,
But Tori did crunch some numbers. 5 points.
it didn't work out very well.
Devin thinks Berna is weird. -5 to Berna.
Which is odd because I think we all like Berna, but I think she's just quiet.
But he does think that Emmanuel is the best rookie there. 5 points to Emmanuel. We get Devin breathing exercises in a towel. 10 points.
But like to people who are not paying him any attention.
Yeah.
It was like he was trying to teach them yoga.
Tommy is medically disqualified. There are no fantasy points here, but we are going to give him 15 for being for the kids and being a 4th grade teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we did, just for anyone's listening, if you are playing along and you have Tommy, we did say a medical disqualification we weren't going to take any points off of.
Right. Another 5 to Tommy because Amber B thinks he is a breath of fresh air.
I don't remember that.
I don't either.
According to Big T, this is her worst challenge day ever. -10.
Where is she? There she is.
Let's see. When they get into the confessional, Tori just wants everybody to give themselves a round of applause. So 5 points to Tori.
In the deliberation. Not the confessional.
That's right. Sorry.
Yeah. Which was so cheesy to me, honestly. I was like,
You know what?
she's like, this is the hardest one we've done all season. It's like, yeah, you've done 3 at this point.
Yeah,
well,
I
5
know.
points to Ashley because she's over it.
Yeah.
Did you find her?
I got her. She's on my team.
-10 to Jeremiah and Tatcha because they did a really terrible job of defending, making a case of why they shouldn't go in.
I agree.
I just like this quote by Devin. If not you, then who? That may be the episode title.
All right, well, that's
5
fine
points.
with me.
5 points. The only other potential episode title I had...
I had one. I don't remember what it was off the top of my head.
Can I Get Pants? From Tommy.
That wasn't what I was.
Let's see here. Where was
Mine was You Get One Head.
That's not real for the kids.
No. What? That's not anything bad. That's not. You're making it that way, you weirdo.
No, I took that as more grotesque. Like, you only get one head, so if you lose it, you're done.
We were all three thinking something
Good
totally
Lord,
different.
you guys.
What
He
in
literally
the
was like, I have a
world?
head injury. I only have one of them. I can't risk getting hurt again.
Let's see. Negative 25 to Tatcha and Jeremiah because they are compromised. Voted in.
Yep.
Tatcha thinks Tori is fake. Negative 5 to Tori. Berna's brain is stressful. Negative 5. We do get a Nelson and Berna cuddling session. That's 10 points.
A piece.
Yes.
Hey, you know what's crazy? As of right now, the number 1 pick for me, Fessy, and the number 1 pick for Hannah, Kyle, and the number 2 pick for you, Jake, Amanda,
It looked
all
like
have
this
no
last
points.
Week too.
Yeah.
Like,
Kyle didn't get me He didn't give me anything last week, did he?
I don't believe
No.
so.
CT got you nothing last week, Jake.
Yeah.
Kyle got you nothing last week. Yeah, it's weird.
Negative 25 to Berna and Corey 12 because they get voted in. Negative 10 to Corey 12 because it seems this is going to keep happening.
Yeah.
But 15 to Corey and Jeremiah because it turns out they're safe.
Yeah, and I wonder if Corey keeps bringing up that he's mad that he goes in, if that's just going to keep piling it on.
Berna grew up in a circus. We've heard it before, but 5 points. Berna is Nelson's cuddle buddy. 5 points to Berna. And Nelson needs his cuddle buddy. 5 points to Nelson. We get bloodied Berna. Negative 5.
But she powered through.
But she's been punched in the face before. 5 points. They both can't stop falling. Negative 10 to each of them.
Berna and Tatcha.
That would be to each of them, yeah. Berna's out of breath. Negative 5. But she wins 75. And negative 50 to Tatcha for losing.
She already has a lot of negative.
I'm going to give negative 15 to Nelson.
Why?
Because he made the quote, "Daddy is waiting."
Oh, it was
Yeah.
weird. It was weird.
I did not like him
Also,
calling him
And he was like
daddy.
motioning, like he was
with
like
his fingers.
That's a
he was
negative
like
15.
he was like bouncing around, and I was like, he looks like a cartoon genie. Like, what's he doing?
Let's see. 10 to Berna, because... No. 10 to Tatcha, because Berna's going to keep fighting for her.
Yeah.
10 to Tatcha, because she got her own chant going out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she did.
We get a Tatcha and Tori spat. 10 points to each. Tatcha's making up a negative 50 right here.
Yeah.
And according to Tatcha, there is no going back for Tori. Negative 10 for Tori. Hey, 5 to Berna because she impressed TJ.
Yeah.
5 to her because she's staying with CT.
Yeah.
Negative 5 to Devin because CT told him to suck it.
Thanks.
And negative 10 to Devin because he is no longer everyone's number 1 pick.
Yeah.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, are your fantasy points
It feels like a low scoring week, honestly.
for the week.
Yeah. It feels like we had a low week. So I'll add.
Well, before you mention the break, this segment's brought to you by Skechers. Go running, and let's run right into this break. And we're back. One last time. Quick shout out to our sponsors, Skechers.
Go
Fresh.
running.
Interesting week, Zach. What do you think?
It is an interesting week for a few different reasons.
Oh, God, I can't
what I'm
wait.
going to do is I'm actually not going to list all the things in the show notes. I'm just going to go through everyone's individual scoring.
Like
all
right now.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
So CT got 25 points. Amanda got 0. Ed got 70. Berna got 55. Jeremiah got negative 15. Josh got 10. Emmanuel got 20. Amy got 0, which is surprising for how big of a week she had last week. Huey ended up with 35. Big T got negative 20. And Esther got negative 5. From there, Fessy got 0, Nelson got 15, Ashley got -10, Kels is eliminated. Tommy ended up with 55, Nany got 0, Gabbo got -5, Michaela's eliminated, obviously. Michelle ended up with 20, Casey ended up with -5 for her bad joke. Bettina got 10, and
should have been a -10.
Amber B got 0. Kyle got 0. Devin ended up with 15. Corey Wharton got 0. Anissa got -10. Logan got 0. Tori Deal got 60. Renan was eliminated. Tasha got -80.
Oh, wow.
Tracy was eliminated. Priscilla got 0, and then Corey 12 got -15. So it's not a good day for Hannah for the second week in a row.
Yep.
So Jake
has to stop.
Jake overall got 175 points. I got 80 points, and Hannah got -30.
So negatives two straight weeks.
Hannah. After week 1, she was at 260. After week 2, she was at 250, and then this week she's at 220.
You have lost 40 points since week 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see
That's an amazing feat,
including having someone who won the daily this week. That's a rare feat.
I don't know that we've seen that ever.
So I got 80 overall. I went from 375 to 455, and then Jake he got 175 points overall. He went from 425. To 600. So,
but I had a daily winner and an elimination winner.
And you haven't had anyone go home yet.
I haven't had anyone go home yet.
So I
lost. Who'd I lose to? I lost Nam, and I got Ed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So at this point, let me update the scoring. I'm gonna just delete Nam off of here for the template.
Is he ain't here no more, Zach?
He's not here anymore. No one on your team is gone. So on my team, Kels is eliminated.
Michaela is eliminated.
Yeah, I'm gonna copy and paste. Michaela is eliminated.
Renan.
I do have Amber B now. Tommy, I gotta put medical DQ.
Medical DQ.
And then you have
Renan.
Renan is eliminated. Tasha is eliminated. Tracy is eliminated. Man, Hannah, you had a bad run on the second
early
half.
on.
Yep.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
I mean, I've lost 3 people too, but I did gain Amber B.
Statistically, it has to end at some point. You guys have to lose more people too.
I've been losing people.
You have to lose at least a couple people.
I'm just looking here, Han. I think you are the least likely to have a winner on your team.
Yes. I would agree, just because Tori might have the best chance, and then Devin and Kyle are a toss-up on how far they'll go. I think me, there's a chance Amber B. There's a chance Fessy. There's a chance Nelson or
Casey.
Ashley. There's a chance Casey's made the final, which we forget about. Made the final our first 2 seasons. And then, Jake has CT, who won last season.
Ed?
I think that's putting a little too much in stock in him. Yeah, I mean, I like Ed. I don't know if he's got what it takes for the long haul. You've got a lot of question marks on your. I don't think Josh is going to do it, but it wouldn't surprise me if Emmanuel was in the final.
Yeah, I can see that.
It would surprise you if Ed's in the final?
It wouldn't surprise me, but I'm not saying
winning it.
I think he can make it the whole way, because I just don't know if he's going to stay with Tor. The partner switching is what's going to throw a wrench in everything, because you can have an awesome team right now, and then someone leaves their crappy partner, and then someone else leaves their partner, and then now you have someone like Kels who got partnered with Tracy, and then they're immediately gone the next episode.
I thought Kels would make it the whole way.
I mean, he had Tori, and that was a strong team, but there's so much volatility, because if you don't win the daily, you're not safe from getting taken. Mm-hmm. So there we go. I read all of the points to you guys. I will not put them in the notes, because I gave you a straight up rundown of who scored what. But like Jake said at the top of the show, Skechers, eat fresh, and patreon.com. We are starting our fantasy league like next week sometime.
The draft will be the weekend before the Thursday.
Yeah, we always wait until
first weekend in September.
We always wait until after preseason is mostly done, just for injuries and signings and things like that. Now with unvaccinated players being fined and pulled from the team, like it's a whole mess of stuff. But if you're interested in that, we are doing that. That's for our free agents and above tiers on Patreon. We have 3 tiers, so check that out. And other than that, I promise we do have new merch coming. I just had to have work stuff slow down, so I've got to overhaul the merch store completely. But we do have 4 new designs that are coming out, and so we'll be dropping those very shortly. Just follow us on social media, @SmashingHeads on Twitter, @SmashingHeads Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. And other than that, we will be back with you honestly before next week, because we still are doing other things. We're doing Rivals 2 podcasts. We're doing Survivor recaps. We've got to do some more Patreon Redemption House podcasts, things like that. So Patreon's getting a lot of stuff churning out from us these days. So if you're not subscribed to that, then probably another Rivals 2 podcast will be popping up soon. But worst case, episode 4 of Spies, Lies, and Allies.
Have a good night, everyone.